وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين.
Because I see like you're a person who knows way more than me, so maybe you can answer.
I don't know about that, but I'll answer what I know. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know.
So I mean, like, first of all, there are like questions related to. Let's go to the Aqeedah question here.
Okay.
So there's actually like, you might know this channel. Can I take names of channels and brothers over here, or no?
I prefer you don't, isn't it?
Okay, so
I prefer, if I know someone or if someone is in the scene here, I prefer not to talk about specific individuals.
Sure. So there is a certain channel, like an Ashari channel on YouTube.
Okay, I don't think I know it, but generally, yeah.
So they were saying like this Ashari creed that we follow, it's totally nonsense because it says in the Qur'an somewhere, where is Allah when we call to Him? And then Allah says, say I'm near you. But you know, we have a understanding that Allah is on His throne, He's above the arsh, and He's above His creation. Yeah. So
who's we? That's what the companions and the tabi'een and
yeah.
So it's not about me and you, right? It's about, like, for example, when you say we have the X belief, we are nobodies, right? Let's go back to what the Qur'an says and what the Sunnah says, right? So the Qur'an is explicit on these issues. When the Qur'an says أَأَمِنْتُم مَّن فِي السَّمَاءِ أَنْ يَخْسِفَ بِكُمُ الْأَرْضَ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَمُورُ. Do you feel safe from the one above the sama, right? Or in highness, depending on which translation you want to take, depending on the Arabic. The word fi, whether it comes with the meaning ala or it doesn't come with the meaning ala, and the word sama means that which is above, or means the literal samawat, you know? So
Can I take a Quran, please?
yeah, you can take, one of the brothers will give you the Quran. So what we're saying is what the Quran teaches, right? You open Sahih al-Bukhari, you find Abu al-Aliya saying stawa means ala wa irtafa. You see al-Bukhari has a whole chapter talking about this issue, right? You go, this is something which is there is no, it's within our fitrah. But I'm saying this is something that there is no disagreement upon, right? Now, if someone has an issue with me, he should deal. I'll tell him, look, you can hate me, love me, do whatever you want, I don't care, right? You just go to the scripture and answer these questions that were given you, right? All of these thousands of verses, Ibn al-Qayyim, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn al-Qayyim, he said there are over 2,000 verses for in the Quran alone, I think in the Quran or in the Quran and Sunnah, for Allah Azza wa Jal being above, right? And there are many verses. Allah Azza wa Jal saying to Isa, I'm going to raise you to me. How can you raise someone to you and you're not up?
Like the Quran descending as well. So that
Quran. There are many, as you said, so many evidences. Allah says, إِلَيَّ يَصْعَدُ الْكَلِمُ. To Him, the righteous, the good deeds, they rise to Allah Azza wa Jal, or they go above to Allah Azza wa Jal. So many, Allah Azza wa Jal descending in the last third of the night. How would you descend if you're not above? Look, to be honest, wallahi, you have to be someone who doesn't have any regard for the Quran and Sunnah to deny something like this. You want to follow what you found your forefathers upon. You're born in a society, a community, their privileges or this or that, so you want to follow what they followed. Look, it's between you and Allah. You want to follow that and die upon this belief which is completely wrong about the creator who created you. That's your choice, right? So when you say he's near you or he's with you, this is explained in the verse. The verse starts by talking about knowledge and ends by talking about knowledge. أن الله يعلم ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وما يكون من نجوى ثلاثة إلا هو رابعهم. And then the verse ends with knowledge. It starts with knowledge and ends with knowledge. And then you have from the Salaf, they explain that with you means with you in his knowledge. If you have an issue, go to the Salaf and say, okay, Salaf, you don't understand the Quran, and I'm the most knowledgeable person, I'm going to explain to you what the verse means, right? So it would be ridiculous, wallahi, it would be ridiculous, right? So the Quran is explicit, and this is the methodology of the people who have a disease in their heart. Allah says in the Quran, chapter 3, verse 7, those who have a disease in their heart, what do? They take the mutashabih verses and they leave the clear verses. They take the verses in which has more than one meaning, for instance this verse, and they leave the thousands of evidences that are out there that Allah is above, right? In order for them to push forward their agenda or what they believe in, right? And to be honest, anyways, most of the Ash'ara don't believe that Allah is in the universe, just to be clear, there are those who believe, but most of the Ash'ara do not believe that. And those who don't read the books of the Ash'ara, that's why they don't know these issues, right? People don't even read the books of the Ash'ara, right? I'm saying the Ash'ara themselves don't read their own books, right? So most of the Ash'ara believe believe that Allah does not have place. Nowhere. This is a terminology you use. Yeah, Allah was before space, and He's in the same state that He's upon, which is the same thing that Jahmiyyah used to say, anyways. But generally, that's what most of the Ash'ari believe in, right? Okay, so does that answer the point?
Well,
okay.
Look, because I'm from Pakistan, like my background is from a sect which follows the Ash'ari creed, and I'm just trying to find the truth. I'm not trying to like debate you or like go with
I don't think we're debating. I think you're asking a question and I'm giving you an answer, right? I want to say one thing about myself, right? I'm not a debater. I don't go debate people, right? Unless in very, very specific situations. Salaf generally had an issue with debating. Generally, yeah. There are exceptions to the rule. Like any rule, there are exceptions to the rule, right? There are like Abdullah ibn Abbas and Shafi'i and Uthman ibn Sa'id al-Darimi, all of these people, and Imam Ahmad, they did debate with the Mu'tazila and the Jahmiyyah, etc., right? But generally, Salaf, they have an issue with debating, right? And in order for someone to engage in a debate anyways, he needs to have so many qualifications in order for him not to misportray Islam and not to completely destroy the religion when he's doing the debate, right? So there are a lot of things to talk about that, right? So the debates generally are blameworthy. They're not praiseworthy, because you can be upon the truth, and then you're shown to be upon falsehood because you're not good enough in your debating skills. So someone is a good debater, he doesn't let you speak, so he speaks more than you. So the individual who's ignorant, the layman, watching, thinking that he's winning, well, he's not winning, right? For example, if someone asks you for evidence, you don't have it recollected in your memory. It is there, but he uses this tactic of say, oh, where is it? And then the other person thinks he's winning. Oh, there's no evidence, right? There are a lot of things that you need to be careful not to do and to do when you are engaging in debates, right? So I don't engage in debates. What I do is I will give you the Qur'an and Sunnah. If you have an issue, my brother, you don't have an issue with me. Have an issue with the companions, with the Salaf, with the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Take your issue with them. Don't talk to me. That's it. Khalas. That's my approach.
Yeah. So there was this one doubt I had on this. Like I agree, the overwhelming majority of evidence is that Allah is above His throne,
there is no evidence otherwise.
So there's this one doubt that they asked the question, where was He before He created His throne? Because in the hadith of someone, I think it says that He.
What a stupid question. Let me ask you this question in return. Where was Allah before creating space? That question is stupid. It's stupid because we cannot conceive how Allah Azza wa Jal operates, right? So to ask me how did Allah do this, or where did He do this, or did He do that, you would agree with me. It is not logically conceivable to say that Allah existed and there was no space. But everyone would. This is a consensus that Allah created space, right? So, but we all believe Allah existed and there was no space, and no one, Ash'ari or otherwise, would be able to explain to you rationally how that happened, right? So to ask me where was Allah, where was Allah, this is not my business, man. Like I wouldn't tell you how Allah Azza wa Jal operates, right? For me, Allah said He rose above the throne. Khalas, I take that. Did Allah tell me where He was before He created the throne? If He didn't tell me, do you want me to fabricate from my intellect where Allah was before He created the throne?
So this is basically one thing we don't ponder too much upon, because whatever Allah has given us.
It's not about pondering. It's about we say what Allah told us about Himself. Like when I told you Allah rose above the throne, I'm using the Qur'an. You need to understand one thing. This rule should benefit you, right? Is the only way we can know about Allah is in one of three things. We see Allah, right? How Allah operates, you need to see Allah, or to see something that is exact similitude to Allah, to understand how that things happens, right? Or to be told about Allah from a trustworthy source. These are the three only ways you can learn how Allah does things, right? So we do not have any of these two clearly. We didn't see Allah. We didn't see anything similar to Allah because there's nothing similar to Allah. So the only thing we have is the news coming from a trustworthy source, from the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Within that news, a Prophet told us Allah was above the throne. We submit to that. Did the Prophet tell us where was Allah before He created the throne? No. There was a narration, clear narration, where it says, كان الله ولم يكن شيء. وكان في عماء. Some people authenticate this narration, some people attack this narration. There's a lot of stories there. But Allah was, and there was nothing. Yeah, this narration is there, the one we were talking about before creating space. Allah was, and there was no nothing. Can anyone rationally explain that? Can you rationally explain that? How can Allah explain Allah was and there was nothing? How can you explain that?
So this is the part where we're using the aql over the naql, and that's why they say, don't use the intellect over.
Yeah, if you using the aql over the naql is delving into, that's a whole big topic, right? I don't want to go into details there, right? Because using the aql over the naql for the ash'ari can mean something else, right? But generally, this is one of the ways that you can use the aql over the naql, in which you start using the aql in a realm in which the aql does not operate. You use what? The aql in a realm which the aql does not operate. I'll give you an example. The aql is like a king.
Yeah.
The king has a dominion, has an authority, has a land. Once the king goes outside of his land, does he have any authority? Okay, the aql is similar to that, is limited to what we call empiricism, empirical reality. That what you see, what you hear, what you sense, the five sensors. The aql is limited to that. That's the realm of that king, which is called the aql, right? Once you start questioning that which is from the unseen, like you're starting to say, now the aql is transgressing outside of its bounds. It's trying to go to somewhere where it's not allowed to go.
Yeah.
It's not your dominion. Yeah? You don't rule over here. So you cannot use the aql to know something that you've not seen.
I see.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the answer to your question. So you asked me where was Allah. Allah Azza wa Jal knows where was Allah. Allah didn't tell me. How would I know? I wasn't there. If I wasn't invited, I wasn't there. I wasn't created that time. So I would say Allah is a ridiculous question to ask me how would I know where Allah was? If He didn't tell me, I wouldn't know. But I know one thing, that Allah Azza wa Jal He said He rose above the throne. Right? So we stop there and khalas. We stop at what Allah said and how the Salaf understood it. That's it.
Good. I think this clarifies this first doubt.
No problem.
The rest aren't doubts, but because I've been studying Islam lately for the past year. Before I didn't really do much.
Okay.
I just had a few questions. So. Yeah, so basically, when I don't know which one is it, the Qur'an or the Hadith, it says when a guy and a girl are by themselves, they aren't really by themselves, but the third one with them is shaitan, right?
Yeah. If they are alone, if they're in khulwa, then the third is the shaitan.
Yeah, so basically
there's other hadith forbidding you from being in a state of khulwa anyways.
Yeah. So what are the limits of this? Say because if my boss at work is a female, can I enter a meeting room there and it's just a one-to-one meeting, or is that not allowed?
Wallahi, look, to tell you the truth, I don't like to go into this specific topic, right? Because the scholars have their opinions on this issue of khulwa, right? But look, if you are in a workplace and you're having a meeting, you can leave the door open. There's no problem leaving the door open, right? Okay, just to keep it's not a private place, being privately alone with someone, because you can be there, and it can be for a necessity, and necessity can allow you to do something which is generally prohibited. But can you control yourself? Can something maybe happen or not? I would say you look for the safest position for yourself. There is no job on earth, I think, where they would have to force you to be alone in a place with someone to have a meeting. You can have a Zoom meeting. Have a meeting on the phone. So many types of meetings out there, right? Why do I have to be alone in a room with someone with the door locked in order for me to have a meeting with them, right? So I think, look, for me, my advice is stay in the safe position, my brother, right? Do that which is safe for your akhirah. You do not know what shaitan can happen, not only from your side, but from her side, right? So some people think, I can control myself. Okay, you don't know about the other person. You don't know. Yeah, you don't know. When the other person starts to invite you to that evil, you don't know. Right?
Okay. Look, this might be another tricky question as well. So say you don't know if you don't know. But basically, I've been watching a lot of videos. Okay, you said don't take the names. Yeah. But these shuyukh who I think you also follow them on Twitter. Some of them and. The rulings on the beard. Let
me just clarify something. If I follow someone, does that mean that someone, whoever 100% of what he says is true?
No, but...
No, I just want you to understand this point, because maybe there are people who misunderstand this, right? Imam Malik said something which is very well known, right? There is everyone you take from and you reject, except the person in this grave, and he pointed to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. So the point that Imam Malik was making is that everyone, including Imam Malik, can make mistakes and can be things that we take from him and things that we do not take from him, right? Do not have a specific sheikh in which I believe he is the ma'soom, he is the all-knowing sheikh, and a group of shuyukh maybe, and then they will tell me what I should follow, I shouldn't follow. I don't have that, right? I have the Qur'an and Sunnah and what the Salaf taught, and this is what we follow, right? So generally, you were talking about the people I follow. What did you want to say?
Yeah. So
I just want to clarify that. But, but go ahead.
I totally understand. Like, there's no 100% truth, but like these people are generally considered trustworthy among the authority. And like,
I would not. I don't think I would follow anyone who I don't see the apparent of them they are good. Yeah. If I don't see the apparent good and upon the correct understanding, I'm not going to follow.
Can I give you a hint?
Don't give me a hint. Ask me the question.
No. It's the American Brother. It's one of those shuyukh you recommended to the American Brother.
I don't know, Akhi. Don't ask me these questions. Don't get me into this discussion, you know.
Sure.
Wallahi, once things becomes about individuals, it becomes ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? Because look, it becomes a battle of me versus you, my sheikh versus my sheikh, your sheikh versus my sheikh. We return things into the Qur'an and Sunnah, what the Salaf used to do. Because that's why I try to do. Why? Because look, there's no battles between me and you, right? So it's a battle of you against the Qur'an and Sunnah and what the Salaf used to believe, right? If you go and bring me like statements of the Salaf that they are understood properly, how would I disagree with you? I'll say, okay, khalas, I have none. How can I claim to follow them and then you bring me their statements and I say to you, no?
No. Yeah. My way, like my reason for telling you this is that it's coming from generally what's considered out there to be authentic sources, and I'm not asking you to refute.
I don't understand your question. What is your question?
Yeah, so it's the rulings on the beard. So basically,
just ask me the ruling in the beard. That's it.
So basically, they said like the hair on the neck, you can move it.
Yes.
But I'm just asking, what about the hair? It's below the chin area, like this way.
No, you don't remove that. Yeah, the neck only. What you pointed to is a part of the beard, because the beard, what the consensus on when it comes to the beard is manabat ala al-lahyayn. What grows on the lahyayn, which you know this line, the teeth line, all the way where the two teeth are growing. You know this line, starting from here. So whatever grows on that, this is by consensus a part of the beard, right? So you don't take a part of it. No, the neck is not a part of the beard. So it's the unuq is not a part of the linguistically, it is not a part of the beard. Yeah.
Right. To study Aqeedah.
Why would you want to take the animals? No one sees that, you know. That's the way. I don't understand. It would look very bad. I don't think any human being would just shaves the hair, right?
Yeah.
I don't think.
The thing is like,
have you seen a human being walking just shaving this under the chin? I've never seen that.
No, because for me, it grows disproportionately. Like this part grows way.
You have to be patient.
Than this part.
That's because people are not patient. Of course, in the beginning it will be disproportionate, but you have to be patient. If you're patient with it, of course it will take some time, right? Some people are like this. If you give it some time, then it will start like lining up and looking good. But people once they see, for a while it's not like this, because look, they're more concerned. Wallahi, I'm telling you this with all honesty. They're more concerned with what people see, how people see them, than they are concerned of what Allah thinks about them. I know I'm doing something that Allah forbade me from doing, but no, I'm worried of how people perceive me. That's a huge issue, you know.
I'll probably be more patient this time then.
Try to be, inshallah. And you know Allah will reward you, and Allah will make it easy for you.
I just wanted to ask about like the Aqeedah books we should study. Like, what's the difference between Aqeedah? Am I going into a
No, go ahead. No, I'm just listening. Don't worry.
Which one should we study? Aqeedah al-Wasiti or Aqeedah al-Tahawiyya? And what's the difference?
Wallahi, go. Problem is you don't speak Arabic, you know. It's a big problem. Why do I say that's a big problem? Because you have to rely on a source that leads you to a different source, right? Because you cannot go straight directly to where I want to lead you. You have to rely on something that explains that to you. What I would advise is someone who explains the books of the Salaf. We've got many books, like for example, Kitab Sunnah for Imam, the son of Imam Ahmed, Abdullah ibn the son of Imam Muhammed. His book is very good, excellent, and it goes through all of these issues about Aqeedah, right? So you can go to these Lalakai's book, Barbahari's book. All of these books are very good books. Ibn Khuzayma's book is a beautiful book, but you need an explanation because you're not going to be able to understand these things. You'll need some scholar that explains these books, right? So Wasitiyya, okay, it's from Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. It's very late, and Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah does not go into much detail, so you will need a sharh, because the Wasitiyya is a matn, meaning it is the compounded text that in which you can explain, right? It's not an explanation in details and this and that, right? So it's a very small thing. So you can either listen to a sharh of that, or maybe listen to a sharh of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. He has a beautiful book called Sharh Aqeedah Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. It's 550 pages or something like that, in which he goes into details, right? He has his own matn and then he explains his matn and he goes into details one by one. The 6 articles of faith, which is what Aqeedah is. Which is a lot of people don't understand even what Aqeedah is. They say, you believe Aqeedah, you don't understand. Aqeedah means the 6 articles of faith. Right? There are 3 other things in which some people add, like the issue of Sahaba, the issue of Imama, 3 other issues that people add. But generally, it is the 6 articles of faith. This is what the Prophet ﷺ said, what Iman is. This is what Aqeedah, you know, what Aqeedah is. So, if you can study these books, or if someone who explains these books, they're well known, the people and the brothers who explain. Yeah, it's something you can learn. There's no problem with it. There's no issues with it. It's authentic. It has the same beliefs. But I prefer for anyone who knows Arabic to go directly to the teachings of the Salaf, because these teachings are clear. The words of the Salaf are very clear. They're very clear, they're very precise, they're very eloquent. I don't need to rely on someone who came later on, right? And also because it becomes a battle, oh, you Ibn Taymiyyah, this is this person, you guys follow this person, or we follow that person. You have this nonsense, you know? No. If I go back to the books of the Salaf, and this is for anyone who claims to follow the correct Aqeedah, give him the book of Kitab al-Sunnah for Abdullah ibn Imam Ahmad and say, let's read it. He will say to you, I don't believe this book is authentic, this book is fabricated, it's a group of Wahhabis, you know, they always use this term, Wahhabis, Wahhabi. Are you Wahhabi? Are you not Wahhabi? Well, I'll be Allah guide me. Why do you use these terms? Because I would say ignorance. That's the only thing I would say, right? No one needs to read the book of Muhammed ibn Abdul Wahhab to know the correct Aqeedah. Right? And I'm going to give you now something about myself. I have not read the books of Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab. I have not read them. I didn't need to. If I read the books of the Salaf, the Shuruh that I told you about, and I read some of the contemporary ulama as well, why do I need to read what Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab had? And they still call me Wahhabi, you know, so it doesn't matter. You know, whatever you do, they will call you that. Point is this, my brother. You try your best, learn the Aqeedah, learn the correct things directly from the books of the Salaf. Like when you asked me the question, I quoted to you what the Salaf said. Why do I quote to you what the Salaf said? Go to Tabari. Tabari has the quotations of the Salaf. Tabari says Allah rose above the throne. He quotes Abdullah ibn Abbas, who is the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ. Abdullah ibn Abbas and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, both of them, in the narration, either Abi Sa'id al-Khudri or Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, both of them, they say that the kursi, mawdi' al-qadamain, the kursi is where Allah Azza wa Jal places his feet. Am I saying this? Why do you call me Wahhabi? Well, go back to the comparison. They said this. I'm just reporting to you what they said. You understand? So, and that's wallahi, keep it, look, between the people and between the Salaf. Look what the Salaf said. You don't have an issue with me, you have the issue with what they said. That's it.
Do you guys have questions?
No, we just listening.
It's his turn. Okay, we're just okay.
Yes, debate, brother?
No. We're just talking. He's a Muslim brother. Yeah, we're just talking. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think like okay. So I just wanted to ask like about evolution as well, for example.
Okay.
We don't believe in it, as you know. So I just want to ask, like, you know, all those skeletons and like bodies you see in the Natural History Museum and all of that. What is that then?
Look, I'll tell you something. The scientists do not have a single full body or full skeleton of something that transitioned from A to Z. They don't have that. If they did have that, no one would be able to contest that. If they did have a skeleton of the transition between a human and a monkey, or a human or a fish and a human being, and all this nonsense that they believe in, we would not have anything to say back, because you have the full skeleton. What they have some bones, they have some remnants, right? And what they do is that they draw a fictional idea of how that human would have looked like. You understand? Oh, they say this is the Homo neanderthal, this is how he would have looked like, and they draw a picture using a small, maybe a tooth bone, by the way, something as small as a tooth, which can be a tooth of a human being, an elephant or a monkey or anything, and they use that and they draw to you a picture in a fairy tale story that they believe in of, the human was in this specific position and he was doing X, Y, and Z and this nonsense, right? So most of these skeletons that you're talking about are human-made. They're manufactured. You understand? They're not. You'll not find, and you can research that on your own. You'll not find the full skeleton of a transition between 1 to 2. And they will tell you, oh, because that takes many years and they decay, and we don't have them. Okay, that's an excuse. It's not my problem. They decay or not. You're making a claim. You have to provide evidences for the claim that you're making. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying, right? So, the theory. Let me tell you something. The theory of evolution is not science. The theory of evolution is not science. Don't let anyone tell you the theory of evolution is science. Science is that which is observable, that is based on the 5 sensors, and that is repeatable. So if I don't observe any species completely, fully transitioning from one to another, I'm not talking about adapting. I don't have a problem with adapting. Allah created beautiful creatures and He gave them skills to adapt to their environment, right? We don't have an issue with if a moth or this or that adapts to its environment. That's beautiful. We say that's a sign that Allah created them and gave them that, right? But to claim a species can transition fully from one species into a different species, they say that takes billions of years, so you cannot observe it. If you cannot observe it, it's not science. If you cannot repeat the experiment, it's not science. So you can use all terms that you want and claim it's science, but it's not science. Theory of evolution is a philosophical theory, mainly a philosophical theory, that relies on evidences that most of the time is not true. Look at, for example, Haeckel's drawing. They had Haeckel's drawing and they claim that the baby, we have now a picture of a baby who have a tail and this, and all of it is fabricated drawings. Look at books of like biology by Raven and Johnson. For example, if you look at these books, published in 2017 and 18, they have clear-cut lies. So they claim, for example, the whale has pelves, and the pelves of the whale are useless. They're vestigial organs. A vestigial organ is that which is left over from a previous ancestor and has no function. But they do have a function. They help whales into mating, right? I can go on and on and on into particular evidences of what these people lie about, right? Point is this, look, theory of evolution is not science. It's adopted by the West today like it's religion. You cannot agree with evolution today because it's adopted like religion, right? And that's why people, they accept it wholesale. If you start asking them basic questions about evolution, they wouldn't know. Go to anyone who says, layman, he says, I believe in evolution, it's true. Start asking him basic questions about evolution. You know what homology is? You know what homoplasia is? You know what assumption? Can you tell me about genetic drift? They would not know anything, right? These people are taking whatever their society taught them. They always say Muslims or religious people take from their family or their society. That's what they're doing. They took this theory from their society. Some scientists, they said to them, because there are scientists who don't believe it, some scientists said to them, this is true, so they believe this is true. You understand? Generally for us, look, I can maybe give you a book, a channel as well that goes into this in detail as well about evolution and things like that. So Dr. Iyad Qunaybi on YouTube,
I know him.
yeah, he's got a beautiful series on evolution. So he dismantles, this is in English. In Arabic he has a long series, 60 or 70 videos, I don't know. He dismantles each and every single one of the evidences that they do. Whenever they bring a new evidence, he dismantles it. You understand? To show you that these people are not truthful, they're lying, they're fabricating evidences, clear cut. They publish a report saying that the whales, you know, when I tell you biology by Raven and Johnson, this is taught in universities. It means that it has to go through many academics and doctors. They cannot miss something as simple as the pelves of the whales, they have a function.
Yeah.
They pretend like they don't see to push a specific narrative. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah? Our position is clear. We believe in what the Qur'an told us. The Qur'an has a higher epistemic value, meaning the Qur'an is absolutely true. It doesn't change. So it doesn't matter what science says anyways, because in the end, the Qur'an is absolutely true. It's not changing. Science is changing. So even if you did have evidence, it does not support you. You get the point? I'm saying even if they did, which they don't do in the end, you know?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch Dr. Iyad Qunaybi's
yeah, watch his video. He's got beautiful videos on this. Doesn't mean necessarily I agree with everything he says. Let me clarify that as well, because people think, oh, then no. Doesn't necessarily mean I agree with everything he says, but he has a lot of benefit for the people in his theory of evolution. Very beautiful theory. May Allah reward him. Very beautiful series. May Allah reward him for his work. Beautiful, yeah.